Hi, I'm Stephen Drucker, part of Microsoft Research in the Vibe group. I'm going to show you Project SandDance, which is all about putting humans back in the loop, helping them understand and see patterns in data. Humans are really good at perceiving patterns in data when it's presented to the visual system. And it's nice to be able to have automatic machine analysis, but sometimes that goes wrong, or sometimes you want to be able to explain it to someone else. So Project SandDance is all about mapping visual attributes such as space and color onto data and seeing the results there. So I'm going to show you some of the things right now. This is some data from the census mixed up with some election results. And we've got about 30,000 points. And we can actually map these points into longitude and latitude because each of the points have longitude and latitude. So as I do this, we can actually see patterns emerge. There's no map underneath this, but because we're so familiar with the form of the United States, we can actually see a pattern right away. We can also use that motion to indicate things. So if we actually histogram and see all the points along the longitudes, we can see that like sand pouring into bins, you can see them stacking up. And you actually see some attributes already. So for instance, we're seeing some things along the East Coast here. Why is it so little along the East Coast? Well, it's actually because some people don't know this, but the East Coast actually sticks out a fair amount. You can actually see them follow up right back into there. So other than just the spatial position of things, you can actually look at other attributes mapped onto this. So let's take some of the recent election results. If we use Obama here, everything above 50% is blue, everything below 50% is red. So you're actually seeing the red state, blue state, actually at the county level, really reflected very viscerally. Again, let's look at that East Coast. You're seeing a lot of blue along the coasts, a lot of red in the heartland. But we're actually presenting a pretty extreme point of view for this because we're thresholding it at 50%. If we divide this up and show more gradations here, we actually see that it's not quite as extreme as you want. There's a lot of white in this graph, which are those swing counties. And in fact, if we divide this up and put all the most extreme for Romney up there, all the most extreme for Obama here, you see that here's all the Romney, here's all the Obama. Much of the country here is in the middle, and it's not as extreme. What are some of the places out here? So for instance, this place over here is Utah, which makes a lot of sense that it's going for extremely for Romney. We can actually select the rest of Utah here, and you actually see that not all of Utah was very extreme for Romney. There were some moderate places in Utah, but nothing ended up going for Obama. Let's look at something other than the election here. There's Utah selected. Let's look at income levels. So here you're seeing a lot of red across the country. Red is bad here, it's very low income. Blue, you see some blue areas which are high income around Boston, New York, LA, San Francisco, Seattle. But you're still seeing a lot of red across the country. That's again been this by East Coast, West Coast, but now let's put all the low income places on this side, all the high income places here. Poverty level is somewhere right around 23K. All these counties are at or below the poverty level. Everything else here is above it. That's pretty scary. That's the 99% that you're hearing a lot about, but representing at the county level. So what are some factors that might co-vary with this? So one thing that might co-vary with this is the unemployment rate. So certainly, if you're not employed, you're not going to be making much money. But more interesting than that is if we look at the education level. So here, you see this curve. The more education you have, the less unemployment there is in a county, and the bluer it is, the more income there is in a county. Except, it's kind of interesting, our visual system's really good at seeing some outliers. So here's a very well-educated place, but it's not making much income. So what is this place over here? That place is Stanford, where the median age is 23. So you have a lot of students on a stipend that aren't making much money yet. So some other ways of seeing patterns is via search. A lot of times I'll use a voice to search for this, but it's kind of noisy in here. So I'm just going to use the keyboard to search for zip codes. So I can just right now search for zip codes that start with 9. And you see the entire coast highlighting, so it's incremental search, you're seeing that immediately. You go to 8, we see just Washington State being If we want to now, we can focus on just Washington State, everything else goes away. And now we can zoom into just Washington State. Okay? So here now we're looking at the income disparity in Washington State. We have a little bit of blue right there. Anybody want to hazard a guess what that blue place is? Turns out those blue places are Medina, which is where Bill Gates lives. So again, we're seeing patterns that start to emerge just by searching in this data. Let me take it back to the full screen here. One of the nice things is this is all built in a browser. There's a browser over there as well. So one of the nice things about that is we have another laptop here, which is just wirelessly connected. We can go and browse to the same URL, and changes that I make over here are automatically reflected over there, vice versa. But this is not just like remote desktop. This is actually just different data sets, different data views. So same data set, but we can actually do a selection over here and it's reflected over there. This is not the only data set that we can look at. We can look at data sets that don't have any geographic information. This is some sales data. You can see the structure of the data here looks like things like orders, quantity of the orders, the shipping mode of the orders. And just a little simple story here is that you're looking at how many orders of furniture, how many orders of office supplies, and how many orders of technology were sold. But this is just a count of the orders. Let's actually look at how much did you actually make from that. So we can look at sales, and you actually see now that we're making more money from the furniture than the office supplies. But that's gross, that's not profit. So if we look at profit, which was more profitable for us to be selling? And you can see that office supplies, even though each of these individual records is very small and not making much money. In fact, we can select everything from the east, and we can see all the East Coast sales, and we can filter those out if we want. Each of those is small, but we're making more profit from the office supplies. So that was just a quick tour of some of the features of SandDance. It's really about putting people back in the loop, helping them make sense of the data and present that data to others. Thanks very much.